can do before the season really finishes.
Absolutely. And a reminder, if MNM plays spoiler here, they can really upset Dusty's playoff seeding a little bit. Because if they win here, they've locked in 4th. Because if Veneer win their game and tie with them at 11 wins, Dusty will come out ahead due to tiebreaker rules. They've got an even head-to-head, but they do have the better record in the second half of the split, which breaks that tiebreaker in their favor. So Dusty want this win to secure 4th. It gives them a slightly easier matchup coming into the... I can do this. Into the... playoffs. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Took me a second.
I don't want you to look at me. I told you before we started. I'm relying on you on this stuff. I'm here for the in-game. You take the implications for the playoffs.
Not even a minute into the game and I can't remember words. It's a bad start, I'm telling you.
It's okay. It's okay. So let me grab it from there.
Please,
and then just
take it
into the game. So what I'm looking at, and I want to start with the mid lane here, is that we have Royal Cannon playing the Karma once again. Last time around didn't go all too hard. This time around, I feel like this Mantra Karma Shield will do better in a mid-game scenario. But before we head to that point, I want to talk about the early game. I want to talk about the laning phase, because Royal Cannon should be able to grab up the early phase pretty even, getting a lot of priority into the melee matchup that is the Sylas. And I don't really want to see him just stand in mid lane doing nothing. I want to see him join up with Kana. He's playing a Sensao together with the shield, the slows, and the brawling potential you get of that 2v2 in the mid jungle. There's a lot of ways you can go in and counter jungle, move up towards the top side, maybe down towards the bot side. I just want to see them be proactive in the early game with this skirmishing power. On the opposite side, I feel like Viking and Backlund, they can cheese a little bit in the early game with the amount of CC that they have. But Backlund is definitely going to be playing from the back foot, where it's more on Viking to really facilitate the other lanes. And Babista up in the top side, making a favorable trade out of the Gnar into the Wukong matchup.
A crushing blow alongside that Nimbus strike. Pretty nasty stuff early on. Even if you do lack a little bit of the wave control, you can still trade pretty heavily, of course. Wukong's passive gives him the additional armor. So against an AD matchup, you have got some options. FGG, though, finding a nice little early hook in this bot side, getting a decent trade out. Definitely chunks out Dr. Chaos there as well, but moving back to what you were saying, I'm really glad you called out that Royal Cannon and Canna synergy you want to look for, because when MNM were on better footing, when they were still looking like one of the better teams in the league, honestly, earlier on in the split, it was off the back of fantastic playmaking and proactivity from Canna and Royal Cannon. And Royal Cannon with that Karma, as you said, should have the priority, should be able to help support Canna on an aggressive early pick like the Xin Zhao, to see what he can do with it.
Let's have a look at this, because Viking, he actually dodged out on the vision that was placed around him on the Raptors. Now he can either go in, try to look for a counter gank jungle rather here, or they can try and look for a wave set up while the bot lane is being crashed down towards here. But looks like he's just going to move down towards the bot side to get the Crocs, but he did lay out the aggressive vision. His bot lane gets to have intel now in terms of where Canna is going to be, and that will allow the Dusty bot lane to push forward, collapse the wave, potentially go for Roam Dave GG or just back with Venser.
Yeah, they've got the priority in that bot lane, which means it's a little harder for Canna to get over something like that Scuttle Crab, and you can see Viking skipped out on his Raptors, skipped out on his Krogs, where it's still that full clear for Canna, who's deciding, yeah, that's going to be happening. I'm going to head, take my wolves, and think about it. What's on top side, my days. Flash for flash, never mind talking about jungle pathing. Just about get out alive there.
Babista trying to make the most out of the 1v1 scenario. He knows the jungler is down on the bot side, both junglers really. Because of this, just tries to go in, did not have the E-op. If he did, that would have for sure been a first blood. Over to MNM, Canna now, pathing down towards the bot side. And remember, there's no vision on this side of the lane. It all came out in the opponent's jungle, but it'll be interesting to see if he can get into the bush here.
Managed to hold the wave far enough away that the will be no option to spot Canna going into that bush. You've got to imagine he's there now. GG and Venza in a dangerous position. That will be the Zenith play. Michigu hopping forward with the supercharger. It'll be the flash out of FGG, and I think they'll manage to disengage the turnaround now, starting to come through, but don't think you want to go any further than this. It'll be the flash out, but nothing more gained by MNM after that early little lane gank.
Canna decides to stick around, wants to crash the bot side, so the MNM bot lane can go for a recall themselves in the mid lane. It's just a matchup we talked about. Karma just gets a lot of priority in the early game, but so far we've not been able to see them move around here. Royal Cannon hasn't really been part of a play yet. It's been all about pushing the mid wave in, and I don't think he's going to do much in this crash either. I think he's just going to be recalling, potentially TPing back himself. So still room to work around with on the side of MNM, but the side of Dusty, they're coming through with their first reset on that jungler too. He is spotted on the wall, so the lanes know what they're working with.
Viking, who of course was spotted as you said, but what he was doing was, because of the play in the bot side, he did get those double Scuttle Crabs, he did get to steal away the respawn Krugs that will of course be at that higher level, more experience, etc. coming through for Viking, and he's still got a lot of his camps on the bot side to clear up.
And now it's time to move together as MNM, because you know that the Volibear started topside, you know he's going to be pathing down once he's cleared the camps. off Gromp and Wolf. And when that happens, I kind of want to see Canna and Royal Cannon, potentially even Dr. Chaos, move in, try and see if they can counter jungle the Raptors on respawn, try to see if they can force a skirmish out of nowhere, or just take away some of the neutral gold that lays open on the map.
Make use of your knowledge of the jungle path, and you know where that jungle is going to be if you're tracking it, and you've got the info to do it. Instead, Canna's thinking about coming down to punish this bot side instead. Gonna see whether they can get onto FGG as Babist is ganked in the top side. Thundering Smash secures first blood. Canna having to flash out, they'll get FGG, but Venter goes forward in the burst fire, secures the jungle. It's now a 1v2 for the Zeri, who I'm not sure is gonna be able to escape. Spark Surge away, stunned under tower, goes down 2 for 1 for MNM in the bot end. And someone else died somewhere else as well. Canna.
2 for 1 special, wait. Yeah.
Canada died, of course. Sorry, I got a bit confused.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we get to have a crash in here. We get to see Venter lose to the entirety of this wave. Royal Cannon gets to push in, gets to go for a recall himself now. No, actually decided to hover around, but great job of Viking, really, because it's going to be difficult for him to have influence on the bot side. He knows he's at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Ooh, lots of damage. Kingslayer's coming through, and it's a regicide in the mid lane. Royal Cannon falls down, the crown goes to Dusty's mid laner.
Let's have a look at the bot side. Lots of action in the early game. Lots of damage taken by Canna as well. No one's really blocking the Seri auto attacks. Remember that, she doesn't really go through champions unless it's amplified by the E, which is why Mishiku can step forward here as well. And I genuinely did not expect Backlund to get that outplay in the mid lane. It was actually incredibly well played from the Swedish mid laner and completely catching Royal Cannon off guard.
He just goes down. That's the early kills going in favor of Dusty.
Is he Norwegian? I can't remember if he's Swedish or Norwegian. I've really screwed up there.
I think he's Swedish.
Okay,
hold on that. Someone's
I know Royal Cannon is. Oh no.
They're the same. So it should be, oh gosh.
We're all Scandinavians, right?
Yeah, okay. You know, you can say that. I'll get in trouble, so I'm going to stop. Anyway, Canna is back towards the bot side. He's just continuing the pressure on him. They want to get Michigu's Kai'Sa rolling. Currently standing at this will be his 4th professional game of Kai'Sa across his career, as far as I can tell from stats. And never mind that. Aleph about to go mega. Can try and get onto Babista, who has got the Warrior Trickster to get himself out of dodge. And Viking at level 6 with the Stormbringer can start playing old school Ohnrecker on the turret. So yes, you've got Cyclone, but I don't think you win the War of Inclement Weather with the ultimates being popped.
Yeah, and Canna will have to path up towards the top side. If he doesn't, well, his top laner is not going to be able to farm up the waves. You can see the rest of them, they're moving up there now. And with that, just normal resets again. But I think Viking is just going to be allowed to walk down towards its boss side, clear up his camps, and no one's really going to be in a position to attack. So MNM, they're playing quite standard. I'm worried, though, because of this lack of productivity, that they're not going to get much done once we come hit that mid game. But remember, they still have an incredible dive composition. You can dive in with Leona, you dive in with the Kai'Sa, Canna, Babista. Royal Cannon's really the only one stepping backwards, just being able to facilitate the fights with the shielding.
They can see the aggression, because yes, the proactivity from the mid-jungle hasn't necessarily been there from MNM, but Canna has been down towards the bot side quite a lot. That's where they've just hard-focused the attention they have. It's come at a cost, don't get me wrong. Big lead for Volibear, interestingly, in the jungle in terms of the CS, which is unusual for a champion like that, but instead we're going to see some attempted play towards the mid lane. Canna's around, so this would be a 2v2, rooted in place with the renewal. The Crescent Guard comes out. It'll force a flash away from Bergland as Babista's around Cyclone and Michigu and Dr. Chaos. The whole of MNM actually here, debating going for a little bit more, but the collapse won't come to anything more. Dusty get out with only the flash being popped from Backland.
No, but that's again what you can see from MNM. Like, imagine if you do this if you want to invade jungle camps. Imagine if you do this if you move this priority up to Rift Herald. Like, I feel like they have so many tools in the early game that they're not actually utilizing. So Dusty, they get to chill a little bit. Viking, he gets to clear his bot side camps, gets to go for a return gank, and all of a sudden, Canna, he's gonna have to play Bandage, or Royal Cannon might just die here. Yeah, you have to flash.
He does, and that's unfortunate. But Viking again proving why he's become one of the most consistent junglers in the NLC here in Division 1. He and FGG have been so good for Dusty when it comes to making plays around the map. As we're going to see the reset from Babista towards the top side. He's doing just fine, and MNM are okay in this game. You know, it's a relatively even game, about 1,000 gold down. So yes, but Dusty have managed to get the early advantage. They're going to get this early Herald and trade for the Drake, but it's still playable. They've still got options, but I am aware that Dusty has been cleaner in the mid game, bluntly.
Yeah, potentially. Now they are moving up towards the Herald. They don't have the move advantage in terms of men. Dr. Chaos is up here. Vence is still down towards the bot side. No Mega Gnar available. They'll have half just time out.
That's a good hook. Can they get anything more out of it? Solar Flare coming down as well. Rollcan at the back end trying to get as much out of this as he can. One down in terms of Canna right now for MNM. The Ignite will not quite kill off Backland. Make it two as Aleph keeps stepping forward. They will get the kill as Mishigu comes in. FGG having to flash away, but the Void Seeker hits. Void, the Assault coming through, the Killer Instinct, I apologize, for Mishigu will allow him to secure another double for Mishigu now at 3-0-1. Will he have the Supercharger into range? He will. The Acathian Rain comes down, but a shield from FGG will eye a little bit more time. One final Plasma Stack would do it! Gets another a Rampage for Mishigu.
Unfortunate hook there, the last one from FGG, but still, they get to have plates down towards the bot side. They pick up the Rift Herald from the side of Dusty, and they force out the TP from Babista.
Comes at the price, though.
Come through from the others as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised that MNM decided to put the Kai'Sa down towards bot side again, because they had the initial first move. He could have been able to join the fight beforehand and force Dusty into a very tricky situation where they would have started the fight in a 4 versus 3 situation from the get-go. Because he joins the fight out late, Dusty is able to trade out so many kills. And from the side of Dusty, it's a good initial play, but MNM, they just have the man advantage to facilitate the winning team fight afterwards.
Well, Kai'Sa rocking the KDA skin certainly wants some more in this game. 4-0-1 right now, full kill participation for the bot laner. You index into making Kai'Sa your main source of damage, getting her to a first item alongside the Dirk, getting her to early kills is a massive deal if you want to be able to blow up people like Venza, like Backland, which will be critical for MNM if they want to take this win. Still a gold lead to Dusty right now. Of course, they've got the Herald gold, so they can still look to expand it. But MNM do have a win condition who's at least managed to pick up some early gold.
And that's what feels great, but you need to keep that carry safe, because one depth charge and Mishigu might just be knocked off. Kana down towards the bot side again. I like this from him. He's very tricky about the vision control, never really coming from the river, and Dusty has built up a slow push for themselves. They'll need to face check this, and great presence of mind for Venza, spotting out Cancer with a W.
They're becoming wise to the lane ganking attempts from Kana. Still, it will force FGG and Venza to back off a little bit. Ultra Shock Laser coming out, which will slow the Xin Zhao down a touch. He will lose some plates, lose some tower pressure areas. Actually, with that Void Seeker hitting, maybe you could think about going a little bit, but the Killer Instinct not pulled, and they will just move back to taking a few more plates. Topside, though, turret did go down.
Yeah, and they need to commit to a play, because second charge is going to come through on the top side as well. Viking could just stay around here if he wanted to. He actually recalled. But I feel like with the low positioning from Dusty, they could have forced on it. They now engage.
Rain gonna come straight through. Shield comes out, they just get the kill. Great dive. Depth charge won't quite get them locked on the tower. Here comes Viking on the reset. Slow will come down with the chilling smite. He'll get the shut down as well. With the 5 kills down, that's a fair amount of gold going over to the volley bear. He'll storm, bring her over the wall, and lightning will strike twice here, surely for a double kill for Viking.
And just like that, Viking came through with the early recall, knew the bot dive was going to come through. Because of that, is able to pick up the kills for himself afterwards, and therefore they get a top turret for themselves. All plates, first turret before 14 minutes. And down towards the bot side, well, the MNM doesn't really get through what they wanted.
A little bit of prescience there. He doesn't stay to go for the second charge top side. Instead, he recalls to stop the pressure in bot. Viking, great game sense there, playing very well in this early game with the proactivity he has. We'll see the replay here, because kind of a fun little dive attempt.
Yeah, Venza got very, very aggressive there, dashing forward while FGG's on the other side of the wall. And yeah, I actually think he could have taken the 2v2, but they were just a little bit uncoordinated. Viking comes through with the chem tank, smite, movement speed, good enough with the E to come through with the slow. And FGG, I mean, the hooks is not his friend today. The walls are really screwing him up. Look at this.
Oh, shit, like, he's doing just fine. Like, yeah, it's not quite the Rel performance, and it's still like, he's still not doing too bad.
Listen, those hooks. Sometimes the hitbox favors you in terms of just bending it out of range. Sometimes it shoots you in the foot by hitting a wall like that.
Absolutely, you're getting dragged down by the anchor there a little bit, but all the same, MNM a little bit frustrated by that, I'm sure, but Mishigu did get the kill at least. He's still pretty strong, but this volley bear off to a very strong early start. You're seeing the gold come over, and while you're seeing some proactivity from MNM, they're not far behind in terms of the kills. The gold lead is going to continue getting larger. Just look at the discrepancy right now, 3,500.
And there's still much more to come. They still have the potential for a second Rift Herald later on as well. With the lead they have in topside, you can push that in fairly deep, but it's not about the topside right now. It is about this Infernal Drake. And currently Dusty, they are contesting the vision. You can see MNM, they're trying to scatter together, stay in group, but Mishigu's actually the one out of position.
A little bit, but on the other side, maybe they can turn
the Meganar!
Meganar into a wall! No, MNM not like this. Crescent Guard comes out, but they've already lost the top lane. There's no Cyclone to come through. They were well aware. They read the Met reports, and instead they'll turn it around. Over the wall goes Venza, surfing his way around, and lightning crackles for another kill for that one as MNM trying to escape. Roll Cannon dodging away desperately, flashing over the wall, playing a bit tricksy, gets the root, but he's still playing into Viking, who's so damn strong, so damn tanky. Not enough damage. It's 2 kills to Dusty. They'll pull away and get the dragon, as well as actually Dr. Chaos fell as well to make that 3 kills. And a big win for Dusty in that fight.
Great Mechana from Aleb that's really showed up, proving that the resources given to him in the early game was paid off. But at the same time, MNM so damn split. You had your carry, your player to play for, stuck on the bot side without being able to join it. And then walking into a chokehold like this against the Mechana, it's just free for Dusty to win the team fight at this point. The setup is great, the vision control is theirs. And just like that, MNM, they're getting wiped at the Drake.
They get wiped, and it was some good early moves from MNM. You saw there was some proactivity, but it's been a problem over the last few weeks. They've not been coordinated around these mid-game fights. They've not been consistent in the communications, and it has been a problem, but they're going to turn back to it. It wasn't taken down. Backland's going to come in, but yes, they'll take the dragon, but they're going to lose their lives for it. Stolen, hijacked Crescent Guard will help Backland get another kill, and 2 die for the price of taking the Drake.
Yeah, and Rift Towel is up as well, so with a 6k gold lead, 16 minutes into the game, Dusty, they can look to even exponentially grow their lead further as well. Resets will have to come through, but even down on the bot side, you can see it. Backland, Viking, they're scattered at the Gromp, ready for Babista to come around. And even if they don't get the kill here, they can still get the turret, but they're looking.
Gonna try and get onto Babista. Where is the rest of MNN? Just nowhere near. He gets a Cyclone to 5. Spectacles get chunked to hell, and he goes down in the bot lane. They'll get the tower as well. And MNM falling apart here in the mid game.
I mean, it had to come down to that 2v2 of the mid and jungle where they had to get stuff done in the early game to really grow that gold lead that they have, especially since they had Michigan to play around. But when it came to the objective setups, 2 times in a row, MNM's just too greedy for this Drake. They don't have the priority around it. It's so easy for Dusty to walk in there. And just like that, yes, you get the Drake, but you lose so much tempo on the map, you lose so much gold, and you're just giving Dusty so much to play around with.
More like 7,000 gold now at 17 minutes.
Hey, objective bounty's alive. Let's get it. Let's see what you can get, MNM.
Oh, I mean, reminder, MNM have not won a game since the 31st of January. It's getting closer to 2 months than 1 at this point. It is a 10-loss streak. This would make it 11 losses in a row if they fall down here. It has been an unfortunate collapse. This season has gone on.
Look at the gold. I mean, Aleb has almost doubled the business gold. Like, obviously, we're talking with a few 2,000 blocking it, but I mean, that is completely.
It's 3,000 in the
mental
jungle as well. It's a big lead in mid.
And it's also, you know, it's a whole break as well. He's going to be chilling on the side lanes. Doesn't really need his teammates to come around. If a team fight is available, well, yes, he'll go for it. But Dusty right now, they just have so many cannons, so much firepower really to attack. And for MNM, it's a difficult situation now because now they're really relying on finding a pig, create these pockets of vision. We talked about it. They have a dive composition, but who are you diving? Even if you get Seri taken down, she's not your current problem on Dusty. The Naris, the Volibear is, Backlon on Silas is. I mean, it's a tough situation.
Don't get me wrong, Mishiku, his burst damage with the build, super high. But he's not a consistent AD carry. He's not a Jinx, he's not the Felios where you can sort of say, actually, I can 1v5 front to back a team fight. That's not how this works. You want to back to front, effectively. You want to get your backline onto their backline and delete them best you can, but yes, you can blow someone up, as you said, but I just don't know whether they can do anything more with it.
Look at the rotations now.
Yeah.
Elif's coming in from the bot side, Backland from the top side. They have Rift Hell to play around with. They want to take down this turret. And in a 5 versus 5 scenario, I mean, can MNM even do it? No, they kind of have to forfeit the objective yet again.
2 minutes until the next dragon, which would be a soul point, but Cloud Soul right now with this comp, yeah, you've got a Kai'Sa who probably quite enjoys it. Honestly, you could get some use out of it, but I just don't even know if that's going to be a win condition. I don't even know if you can get to the dragon. It is a thin, small hope at best right now.
It is, it's difficult. I'm trying to find ways to really put it into a different perspective of what it really is, but MNM, they're not going to be able to find anything on an objective. Babista?
Well, there's the perspective. You can see it on screen. He has to burn his ultimate. Alif just walks and autos him down to a 3rd HP. There you go. There's your description of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sinking ship. There's so many holes right now. Water keeps piling in, and you just don't have enough buckets or any planks to seal up the holes you have currently. Bandage duty is kind of needed on every lane except the AD carry, of course. So it's a rough situation. And going into the soul point of view, I mean, I don't even think Dusty will need a soul as a win condition. But then what we're really waiting for is just for them to feel comfortable knowing they have the items to facilitate a Baron take and then just start it up, make a turn, get the fight, get the Baron, and start closing out the game. And for MNM, I mean, you're literally hoping for a little bit of a miracle because, I mean, you need to find these picks. You need to find a shutdown on some of the members.
Well, Backlund might be looking for a different kind of soul. Never mind Dragon Souls. He's got a Magi Soul Stealer in inventory. Picked that up a couple minutes ago. Got 9 stacks on that already. And instead of stacking those dragons, he might just stack the kills, get those numbers rolling up. And you know what kind of game it is when it's a second item. Magi's on your Silas.
It's a great story as well for Dusty in terms of how they started out the split and how they're looking now moving into playoffs, because I don't actually think we've seen the entirety of the roster be as good as they currently are.
Not at all. Yeah, I completely agree. As Aleph might be collapsed. Remember, Mishigu can chase him very deep. There's nowhere near a Meganos, so Aleph might fall. Of course, he has the hull breaker, but there's Cannon across the wall. The slow comes through, wind becomes lightning, and a shutdown goes into the pocket of Mishigu, continuing to try and stack gold onto the win condition you do have.
That is the great pickup there for MNM. You can see the rest of the members of Dusty was actually on a reset timer getting ready for Drake, and Aleph was quite frankly just overstepping. So great pickup from MNM. They don't lose all too much on the other side of the map. Usually if you would have shown with 4 members, you would have been sure to lose the tower, but they did it on a reset timer. Because of that, they only lose to Drake, which inevitably they probably have lost anyway.
And once again, we managed to cast a curse, people. The moment we say it, never seen Dusty playing this cohesively well as a team. Aleph overextended Dusty.
I think the main point of it still stands, though, because as a roster, we've seen multiple people step up now where it's not just about Venser, which we very much talked about in the beginning, and they're so incohesive as well. Like, they had good early game macros, but they will always manage to throw it once we come to that mid game. This time around, though, multiple members are stepping up, and they are looking scarier moving into playoffs, which is exactly what you want to see if you are a Dusty fan.
Absolutely. And before I think I continue to wax lyrical a little bit about Dusty with you, I will call out that is the Nash's 2 second, alongside of course that Dirk early item for the Kai'Sa. So going for that hybrid build that has become one of the options for the Kai'Sa, who's always had a fair variety of builds, much like something like the Ezreal, but that is the option right now. Dusty, I think for the likes of Backlund, of Aleph, who were in a link assist towards the beginning of split, the fact that we're seeing Backlund back towards these kind of brawling assassin type carries is great for this team, because he's looked so much better on them as a fight breaks out in mid lane. Never mind that, FGG taken pretty low. I shouldn't be encouraging them. Bit of a brawl occurring. FGG's gone down. Hook not the best there. Solar Flare coming through, of course, stolen away. The AP makes a lot of damage. Canna gonna get chunked up, trying his best to stay alive, but now with the lightning crash available for Venter, he goes in, but gets chunked out pretty heavily by the Cyclone. It is the Void Seeker tanked up by the Clone. Gonna be a little less available right now. So MNM get away with a 1-for-1, but it's Dusty that feel okay about this. But Aleph is gonna potentially get chased down. A lot of speed ups here. Maybe they can keep chasing.
I mean, they might be careful. They need to not overchase this one. The turnaround could come through, but Dusty in that instance, they are just way too aggressive. That was with 3 members, Venser, FGG, Viking, just stepping up 3 versus 5. They had side lanes to collapse. They went for that play way too early, and MNM they punished with a 1-for-1 trade, which when you're behind, you take that.
Absolutely, you do. And literally, I started praising Dusty, and they mess up the play in mid. We say, you break it.
I guess old habits die hard. We literally just said, well, they sometimes just throw it a little bit in the mid game, and we've not seen that all too often from them. Well, I take it back. We're seeing it a little bit again, and they just have to be happy about they're currently sitting there at the huge gold lead they still are.
Just over-forcing a touch. And I know your champions are pretty good with that. You've got the options to brawl, to scrap with things like the Nara and the Volley Bear and the Silas, but you've got to be careful not to do this too much, because if it allows MNM to stall, and Mishigu keeps getting these kills, and you do get to a couple items on the Wukong and on the Karma to support Mishigu, who's getting very close to 3 items now, just had the Muramana transform as well, suddenly that win condition becomes a touch more viable.
Things are coming through. They're looking for Venser when he's stepping up here, but still not too much to do about it. And now we're back into the situation where the side lanes are being enabled from Dusty. This time around, though, they don't have to teleport because they were all expended in the former fight. They're going to be crashing around, seeing if they can get some vision control of the Baron area, and essentially that is the win condition for Dusty as well. It's finding that time where you can bait out MNM and take that all 5 versus 5 fight. It starts from the get-go.
And the thing with MNM is they do have a comp that can be opportunistic with picks. Karma speeds up and suddenly you can have a Kai'Sa follow-up from 2 screens away. She has got that rank 2 of the killer instinct. She can follow up from a long way, but Dusty have said enough of these kind of slightly messy plays. We'll start the Baron and call you to us. Burn those teleports, we dare you.
Mechanize out here. Might time out there, get face check for the W there, so now they have the vision. The members are compiling in. Royal Canning is late. The TP will have to be expanded.
That's now Dusty pulling off. They'll take the trade of TP, but what can MNM do at the end of it? Speed up on Babista, not quite enough to get him in range for a Cyclone. The depth charge pops to dissuade and stop his engage. They'll get the teleport though and call that a win.
Yeah, that's a fair play. As you said, they get the teleports, and that's really all they need. Can reset around the mid lane. MNM, they're trying to stick around, trying to see if they can finally pick a turret down. Viking's going to be face-checking.
Oh, and that'll be the killer instinct. Takes so much damage from that killer instinct. Has got to pop the ultimate, but won't quite fall. Not quite enough damage. Aelif is rooted in place, but now the turnaround can start coming through. The abscond, the abduct is going down. It's a rampage for Backlund, but what about the rest of the fight? Can they keep killing?
He's going to be Mega.
1 kill. Look at the damage to the back end. Is still going to be Canada going down. In comes the Mega Nard. Crunch onto Dr. Chaos trying to buy space at the top end of your screen. In is Backlund, but it's a shutdown. The Acathian Rain eviscerates him. He's peppered full of holes, and Mishigu at 8-2 and 3 is still a win condition from back of this fight. He's going to retreat out, not give over much more of a kill as Babista has to flash away as best he can. Voidseeker misses. Babista trying to play out. Can he get onto Venta? Can he trade out anything at all here? Surely he falls. And in the end, it's still a 4 for 3. But another close fight. And MNM, they're clawing some of these back.
Yeah, just a little bit, but it's still very much Dusty favored, and I can't help but feeling like MNM only got a little bit more of that fight because they tried to be greedy with their ultimate. Aelif definitely saw the 2-man Mechana as well that Backlund dived in for. Unfortunately, he was stunned up, not able to follow. Viking gets a little bit of a face cheer. He's forced to ult immediately, and you still see the burst damage that you talk about as well, Initialize, but they're still too far ahead, they're still so tanky, so when the fight finally breaks out in a chokehold like this, it's just very difficult for MNM to operate it. There's so much AoE damage as well. Wins is having a field day, and here when the Mechana finally comes out, that's where they start to chase for the backline. You can see Aelif doesn't care about Dr. Chaos. He wants to flash in together with Backlund, but he gets caught by the center blade. Because of this, Michigu's able to take down the shutdown. He's able to get out of there. But still
gold.
Very much a Dusty favored fight.
The Voidseeker to clean up Viking who thought he got out. The kill with the Acathian Rain onto Backlund, who took that single target Q from Kai'Sa, has got Mishigu to a very scary point. 3.5 items now onto the Kai'Sa, who is honestly a legitimately scary threat. Yes, the gold is strong, but honestly, because MNM got the 2 early Drakes, there's not a soul point they're fighting against. They've managed to stall the Baron, and now at 27 minutes, the gold hasn't changed that much. It's a big lead, but you do still have to be afraid of the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I mean, you do, but it's still Dusty, the only thing I feel like they have to be afraid of really here is making mistakes. Because if they just play it out cleanly, there really shouldn't be holds of opportunities for Mishigu to dive in there. Like, it's...
Have they?
No, you're right about that, Sam. You really are. And you know, that probably is my main point as well, that Dusty have not been playing this one clean towards the end game. Like, it could have definitely looked way better, but they're still feeling themselves, and that is the Dusty style. No matter how it looks like, they want to be aggressive. They'd rather go down fighting than just close it out and feel like they can just choke their opponents out.
Gloves are off into the ring, and they've certainly been throwing a few punches, but taking a few back as well. And unfortunately, the person that's been landing them the most is still, of course, that Kai'Sa. I keep bringing it up because that is still MNM's lone hope.
And that's great, but I mean, they'll have to find it around the Baron area.
Yeah.
Dusty, they're looking scary. 3 items on Venser now, and I think they're just going to be fancying a fight. Canna, he's spotted out on Vision.
It's a bit. Can they do anything to the Jin Zhao? Flashes away, the Crescent Guard's about to pop, and I think he's just dead. And with the jungler down, finally, without a trade, they can start roaming over to Baron, where there will be no smite available into the backside. Aelif got there, but Mishigu still alive. Golden with the stopwatch. He goes. Dr. Chaos has got a shield, but it's not enough. And Dusty have finally found a fight where they haven't been traded back on. That was what they've been looking for the last 10 minutes. Double kill to Zeri, and that might even be game. Let's go take the Baron, and this game is all but lights out from that.
Yeah, this is why it's so difficult with Mishigu, because had this been a normal where there's a hyper carry in the background you need to take out, maybe the Kai'Sa pick can be very good. But into the composition situation of Dusty, they want you to dive into them. Like, if I can pile you up against a wall with A-Liv, if I can stun you with Volibear, if I get to melee you on the on the Silas as well, then you're happy. And because of this, Mishigo can never dive in. Yes, he's fed, but he's still not allowed to play the game.
Saw the trades there as well with the Titanic Hydra in infantry for Venza right now. He's trading onto Mishigo through the whole damn wave. Turret goes down. It's a Baron power play, and the Baron doesn't even need to be used to secure that top lane inhibitor turret. And gold, now 12,000 gold. Stacks back on the Medjai's 4 items for Venza's Zeri. There was some moments where you could see some scrappy underdog fights for MNM, but I think it might just be all out there now.
Yeah, now you have the tools, right? You get the Volibear ultimate, you get to take down the turrets, Backlund level 16 as well, can steal away the solar flares, can go for Cannon's ultimate if he wants to stay a little more immune to a lot of the damage that could come through from Mishigo. And yeah, we're just looking at the last 2 pushes. Dusty, they're going to be playing down on 2 lanes, Venza stacking on a mid wave, Backlund coming in from the bot side. And it feels like it's just a matter of time before Dusty is going to be able to close this one out.
Now, can they do it cleanly? The mid game was not.
That's a good question.
They finally found the fight they were looking for in the mid game, but I have to say there has been a few slip-ups, and if you keep doing that, things might not end the way you want them to. But now, with the whole of MNM on vision, with the Baron in inventory, they can continue to shove through. 2 inhibitors now exposed, and they'll move in to try and secure the mid lane inhibitor itself.
Mid lane inhibitor will get taken down, but Backlund comes in with the dive now with the bot lane waves. And just like that, the rest of Dusty can collapse on it as well. Should be able to take care of this inhibitor turret. And MNM, time is running out. You need to go for that Hail Mary play soon, or your Nexus is just going to get taken down. Resets can come through from Dusty now as well. They don't have to look for it now. They can be patient about it.
Fat Lady is warming up her vocal cords, but MNM will be hoping it's Ave Maria. That Hail Mary will need to come through, as you said. They need to look for something. Where? How? You can't go for a straight front to back. We've been over that. You've got to find the wombo combo dive, kill off some very important people. Backlund, Venza need to die, but with the tankiness of this front to back, now that it's all in vision, there's no split up fights, no way to keep dancing around as much as you have been around in the jungle fights. Solar Flare throws so much damage, not quite enough. That'll still be Dr. Chaos rammed into his own and broken inhibitor, but the turnaround starting to come through. It's a DC Cyclone, but Babista trades his whole health bar for it. Into the backline goes Mishigo, but he can't quite get any kills, and he finally falls. He's dead for the first time in forever. A quadra to Venza to end it all out. And Dusty secured 4 in the regular season.
Easy peasy for Dusty as soon as the mid game got rolling for them. Yes, we saw a few mistakes, but once again, the composition